Hey everybody, my name is Crys'Dawna. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button. If you're not new here, welcome back friends and family. It has been a while, I know. I've had a lot of stuff going on, but this is actually probably one of the longest videos I've done in a while because this piece behind me had to be complete. It was gross. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys what it looked like before and we're gonna just jump right into it. If you guys want to see this, stay here. I'm gonna show you how to thoroughly clean a piece. I'm going to show you how to rebuild a little leg that half of it was missing, and I'm gonna show you how when there's a really disgusting drawer, how you can bring it back to life. So some of the pieces that you may have come across that were really gross, maybe this video will help you. So let's take a look at what it looked like before. It was a hot mess and we'll just jump right into it. Here it is. No, I'm not gonna show you guys. You're gonna have to wait till the end to see exactly what it looks like. All right, stay here. Okay guys, so this piece was a mess. I don't know what else to say. So I'm gonna show you guys what I did to kind of fix it up. It was pretty gross. Even the handles, it was just caked on, old finish, whatever, I don't know. And so the first thing that I did was clean this really, really well. So the cleaner that I'm using is called Green Ease, and I put it in a mister bottle, and I am just going to spray this entire piece, and you're going to see, so it's diluted down a little bit with water, but not very much, but you're going to just see the finish and the old nicotine. And I'm pretty sure it didn't smell like cigarettes, but there were like little tabs from cigarette boxes in there, so I'm assuming it's probably something that did have cigarettes at some point. And so I'm just spraying it really well, and I'm taking a Scotch-Brite pad and I'm scrubbing it all off. You're gonna see, you can see how it's just dripping down off the piece. So this is why it's super important. You cannot just go over a piece, especially when you can see how gross it is. You can't just paint over it. And so the most important part for this was to get all the dirt and grime off of it first, but man, wait till you guys see. There is a lot that I have to do to this piece. You see how gross that is? So we're going to clean it really well first. It's also important to clean the drawers of your pieces. If you can see, this drawer was just gross. So I sprayed it with Green Ease. I let it sit. I'm pretty sure that some of those were from packs of cigarettes. You guys, I really don't know what this person did with this piece of furniture, but it's fine. I found it and we're going to make it better. But I am scraping this with a metal scraper. I'm taking my carbide scraper and I'm scraping all of this out. I will spray this again and repeat this process. So I'm going to let it sit. We're going to come back to this drawer. What I wanted to show you is, if you can see all that caked off stuff, I took the hardware off, that's all caked behind it. I've scrubbed it with the Scotch-Brite pad, but this is what is called a grout brush. You can use it to clean the grout in your shower or on your floor, and I'm using that to get into these detailed areas because the detailed areas are pretty nasty as well. And so I am still scrubbing this piece before we go back to the drawer. Once I'm done scrubbing this piece, I am going to wipe it down one more time with the Green Ease cleaner and then go over it with some water. Okay, so we're going to go back to the drawer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sand the inside with an 80 grit sandpaper and move to a 120 grit. This is my 3x4 electric gray by Surf Prep, and so I'm going to sand going with the grain on the inside of this drawer, and I'm going to sand around it and underneath it just to get some pre-existing finish off that maybe just looks gross, so I can clean up the drawer a little bit. And then what I'm going to do, because there are black stains that are water stains on this drawer, I'm going to show you how to get this off. So what you're going to do is you're going to take something called oxalic acid. I do have some still from Germany. It's a powder form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the drawer down with water first. And then I'm going to take my oxalic acid, which is in powder form, and I'm going to sprinkle it all in the drawer. Then I'm going to put more water over top of it and kind of create a paste, and I'm going to rub it into the drawer and allow it to sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes you can let it sit for a little bit longer, and then I will come back with a damp cloth and I'm going to wipe it up. Usually that will take care of it the first time around, but you can repeat this process if you really want to get more of the stain off. Usually on the top of a piece, you really want it all gone. This is a drawer, so I'm just trying to clean it up as much as I can. Anything is going to look better than what it looked like before. This is what the drawer looks like now that it's starting to really dry. Once it's fully dry, I take some Wise Owl Furniture South and I am going to condition the inside and really just bring this drawer back to life. You guys are gonna see here, it conditions the drawer, it makes it smell nice, and let's seriously, look at before. Come on, don't know what they were doing. Please let me know if you guys have any theories. And there it is after. So there is hope. Now I'm going to show you the way that I fixed the foot on this piece. This was what it looked like because half of it was missing. It should look like this, but obviously be on the other side. I have never done this particular technique before, so it worked. You're going to use some Alumilite mold putty, and what you're going to do is take a food scale and weigh out even parts for both. So it's a 2-part putty. You're going to have to guess of how much you need. So I just kind of guessed. This is a bigger area, so I put equal parts. What you're going to do, first of all, you want to zero it out. So you're going to hit the power button, zero it out, and then you're going to do your first part. So we're just weighing out this part of the putty. And then what I'm going to do is take this off of the scale. I'm going to zero it out and I'm going to put the exact same amount of the part 2 on there. And then I'm going to knead these together really well until they mold together. So 1 part's yellow, 1 part's white. Once it's ready, it's going to be just a little bit lighter of a yellow color. You're not going to see streaks of white or anything like that. So it may take you about a minute or 2 to really just knead it all together. And then you're going to cast your mold. Now that I have my putty mixed, I'm going to kind of roll it over the leg that's not broken because we just need the same exact thing on the other side so we're able to flip it around and mirror it. So I'm gently pushing it down so I cast this mold right. I'm gonna allow it to sit for about 20 minutes and let it cure and just start setting up. Once this is sat for 20 minutes, I carefully pull it off of the leg because it's still a little bit pliable, and so I want to make sure that I am not damaging it. But you can see right here, it is a perfect cast of the leg that is not broken. Okay, so now we're going to take that cast and we are going to put it on the leg that is missing. I need you to remember that this was an experiment for me, and I just thought, you know what, let's try it this way instead of getting a piece of wood and having to cut it and shape it and all that stuff. So this did work very well, and I would do it again just so you guys know. But what I'm doing is I'm matching up this mold so that way I can put it on the leg, and I am taking masking tape and I am going to secure it to the leg. Also, this way, if there is any resin that comes down, it's going to stop it. You want to be careful of not taping it too hard, especially at the top where there's that void of missing wood. So you just want to make sure that you have it secure on the piece first. And then what we're going to do is, after we've secured this to the leg, I am going to mix some of the Alumilite fast casting resin the exact same way that we used this molding putty. You want to use a food scale and measure equal parts. This is the fast casting resin by Lumilite that I will be using. And what we're going to do is take our food scale, and you're going to want to make sure you mix equal parts of this resin. And then once you have the first part, you zero it out, put your second part in there, and you're going to mix it. I use a tongue depressor to mix it really well. And then once it's mixed, I am going to just pour it directly into the area that has the mold and the tape on it. And really, when I did this, I was like, well, we're just going to hope for the best here. I filled this all the way up to the top, and you can see right here, it will start turning white once it's starting to harden. And I let it sit for about 20-25 minutes just because I wanted to make sure it was completely cured. And I untaped it and carefully pulled it apart. What happened is the resin actually bonded to the other piece of wood as well, but I wanted to make sure that I secured that even more. So right here you can see how I've pulled it off, and we have a nice cast. So now we have that missing part, but I want to make sure that it is super secure. So I am taking some brad nails and I am going to manually nail in on both sides. That way it's even more secure. And then what I'm going to do is fill in some of that missing part at the top of the mold with some Bondo. Here is what I did. I'm going to fill in that missing part that you can see. So really, this method worked really well. I just needed to go in and fix a little bit of it with Bondo, which is a 2-part wood filler. This is the multi-purpose Bondo. You can use really whatever Bondo you want. And I'm just going to carefully fill it in because I'm going to shape it with my sander afterwards. I like using Bondo because it doesn't shrink and it sets up really fast, so I can get this job done fairly fast. I just filled in those little nail holes and I'm filling in the sides so that way everything is just seamless together. Once this dries, I gave it probably about 25 minutes. I am going in with my Surf Prep sander and I am going to just shape everything, and that way we have a fixed leg and no one will know once it is painted. Finally, this piece is now fixed and prepped, and it is time for some primer. So we do need to put a base and blocker primer on here. This is the gray primer by Pureco. I do want to put a primer on here because I don't know what kind of bleed through we're gonna have, and it's just better safe than sorry. And this is gonna lock in any kind of smells that may have come out. This piece actually is, even though it was really gross, it really doesn't have a bad smell to it, but I always put a primer down just because I want to make sure that I have the best base for my paint finish as I can. I did not fix every ding and veneer piece that was missing. I'm going to go in with Annie Sloan's Greek Blue, and I'm going to take some salt wash, and we're going to make this a little bit more textured. So Annie Sloan's paint, you can add texture, but I want it to be a little bit thicker. That way, any of the small imperfections, I can just use this and go over the entire piece and it will help fill those in. Plus, I am going to be layering this and I want to pull back and reveal some of this blue and just have kind of a textured finish that adds character. So once we mix this salt wash and the Greek Blue paint, we want it to be kind of like pancake batter like consistency. I'm going to stipple a layer on the entire piece and I'm going to allow this to dry overnight. I came back the next day and I'm using the color Arles by Sloan. It's her chalk paint. And this is kind of I want to say earthy yellow. I don't really know if that's the best description for it, but I wanted to keep these colors light and kind of sherbet pastel-like. And so I am going to go over all of the areas where there is ornate pieces, and I'm going to basically do a dry brush of this color on all of those areas. I told you we were going to start layering, so now I'm taking Provence and I'm going to layer this color over top of the yellows and kind of add it next to it so that it starts blending and it layers over top of the yellow. What it's going to do is it's going to tone down the yellow just slightly. Now I'm going to go back with the Arles yellow and I'm going to just do a quick dry brush. I'm not going to have as much paint as I did when I initially put it down, but what I'm doing is I'm just layering and creating these dimensions and different things with those two colors right now. The next color I'm using is Scandinavian pink. So Scandinavian pink is kind of an earthy pink. It's more of a coral color. So it's pink, but it's more of a coral color. So it's going to go really nicely with these. And so I'm just picking random spots to put this because I am going to blend this. So what I'm doing is just putting the Scandinavian pink in random areas, and I'm kind of doing a little dry brush over some of the other areas. So that way we're doing some layering, and then we're going to do a little bit of blending. Once I have put it where I want to put it, I'm going to take a mister bottle and I'm going to take my Crys'Dawna brush and I am going to go in circles to really get this paint to start working with the other paint, and then I am going to go horizontal and vertical and just blend this all together. Once I start blending it, I'm also taking a paper towel and I am doing a little bit of a dabbing frottage look. I'm going to mist the area and I'm going to take the paper towel that's dry and pounce over top of the paint so that way I can reveal the colors underneath. So if you see over here with the Scandinavian pink, when I do it, it reveals the Greek blue underneath. And this is also going to create dimension and it's going to add another just layer to this piece. I allowed this piece to completely dry once I was done blending it and doing my frottage method, and I am taking my carbide scraper and I am going to gently go over the flat surfaces. What this is going to do is, because we did a texture on there, it's going to pull back and you're going to be able to see the Greek blue underneath. Once I've done that, I am taking a sanding block and I'm going to sand over it so that way it kind of smooths it out so that it doesn't look so rough. And I am going to do this on the entire piece to create a textured look, a layered look. So you can see right here with the carbide scraper, when I go over the Scandinavian pink, it pulls back some of that Greek blue. And then if I go up at the top with those colors, it's going to pull back a little bit. So this is also a great way to do some layering and add dimension, but you need to make sure that you're doing very light pressure with your carbide scraper. You don't want to go all the way down to the wood. You're just trying to peel back a little bit of the layers. Once I was done, I wiped down the piece with a microfiber cloth, and now we're going to seal it with Annie Sloan's chalk paint lacquer in matte. This just makes the colors look so rich. You're going to see here how it just brings the colors back. So when it dries, it lightens up just a little bit, but once you seal it, it just richens everything and makes it all just pop. What did I do with the handles? I reused them, but first we had to boil them. So I boiled these handles in just water. I didn't put anything in this water. I boiled them for about 25 minutes. And once they were done, I took them out carefully. I used the grout brush to scrub them. I also used the Scotch Brite pad to scrub them. And I also used a wire brush to scrub them because they were caked on. So once I was done with that, they were nice and clean, and I cleaned them up with a microfiber cloth to get any of the excess residue off after scrubbing them, and you're going to see there is a huge difference. So you can definitely boil hardware if it's got paint on it or if it's got old residue that's caked on there, which these were, and with a little bit of elbow grease, you can really clean them up and reuse them. Okay. I will move out of the way this time so that you guys can actually see this piece. Here it is. It is like a pastel dream. I live in a 250-year-old farmhouse, so everything's not even here. It's not the piece, it's the floor. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Everything I use will be in the description below. And also, next time you guys come across a piece that you feel like might be a challenge, maybe take that challenge. All right, I'm gonna show you guys some nice staged photos. Let's take a look at what this thing looked like before we go and look at how much work we put into it. All right, I will see you guys later. And until next time, happy creating. Bye.
Can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple